Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're on nice and early today because Celtic actually have a game of football tonight as we prepare to take on Cork City in a pre-season friendly. We have some transfer news to go over. We have been linked with yet another centre-back. Another striker could be on the way in the door at Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers himself has commented on the transfer window so far. So we're going to try and cover all of that as quickly as possible to keep some breathing room between here and tonight's game. So bear with me, let's do that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. We are firing through the transfer rumours this summer. And as always, we'll be linked with 250 players and sign free. So if you want to stay up to date, go down below, hit those buttons. We will be live from 10 to 6 this evening for the friendly against Cork City. Remember, that game kicks off at 6 PM tonight. It's not a 7:45 kickoff, it's a little bit earlier, so check out the live stream on my channel if you want some conversation during that. We'll be doing the same as what we've done for the game against Queen's Park. Anyway, let's get in all the transfer rumours for today. And I actually want to start with Brendan Rodgers' comments in regard to those transfer rumours. The manager has been talking ahead of the friendly tonight against Cork, and one thing he was obviously asked about is the transfer window and Celtic going into this window, what they've done so far and what they expect to do. Brendan Rodgers confirming once more there is still work to be done, and I thought his comments would be interesting to look at before we start diving through more of these rumoured names. So Brendan Rodgers said when asked about the window that when you're at a club the size of Celtic, you get linked to so many players. There's so much gossip and speculation. We've signed some really good players, we've signed some potential, and we also know that we need to sign some players that can affect the team because we've lost some really important players. Kyogo in January and Nicholas Kuhn possibly leaving. We know what we need to improve, and I'm pretty sure we will do that over the summer. So Brendan Rodgers giving some Celtic fans the very needed reassurance that the replacements will come in this window, that we are still looking to make signings that will directly influence the starting 11. And I think that's one thing that's not so much me. I still feel a kind of calmness in this window. I'm still very positive. I try and be optimistic as possible when it comes to Celtic, because I think we all should be. But Brendan Rodgers maybe giving that reassurance that some needed, that we will make signings to affect the first team, that we will replace the big hitters, and that with all these players linked to the club, not all of them are necessarily going to become Celtic players. So you've just got to approach this window with a sort of patience, like we do every year. And I'm pretty sure things will end up all right. I get that some people are getting anxious or critical about how Celtic have gone through the window this far and some of the players we're getting linked with. But really, the judgment will follow on September 2nd when the window shuts. And until then, as cliche and as cringy as it might sound, you just need to trust the process. You need to trust the manager. And we have almost 2 months left of this window. There's a long way to go. And all these players getting linked, a handful of them will become Celtic players. And the ones that might become Celtic players maybe even haven't been linked with the club yet. So just remember that. I thought the manager's comments were quite interesting this morning, reiterating the point that we do need to make big signings. So shall we get into those transfer rumours? It feels only right. And we'll start off with the reports that came from France last night that Celtic are looking at another centre-back option, this time coming in the form of French centre-half Etienne Yut. This was a report from L'Equipe last night that the Havre's Etienne Yut has got interest. He's attracting interest from several European clubs. Under contract until 2026. He could leave if an offer of around €5 million is received. L'Equipe went on to write that under contract until 2026, Etienne Yut could soon leave the club. 23-year-old central defender is attracting interest from several European teams after arriving in January 2023. The the lanky player earned his starting spot in November of the same year. After a successful first season in Ligue 1, the former Inter Milan and Olympiacos player is coming off a more difficult season on a personal level, which hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of several suitors. So Celtic have been thrown in the mix with Anderlecht and Besiktas, who are apparently, in quotation marks, keenly interested in the defender who is in need of further development. Apparently, German clubs and 2 English championship teams also, including Burnley, are interested in the player. And this has been reported on by Fabrizio Romano as well earlier in the window. He didn't mention Celtic's name earlier in the window. I think it was around the 3rd of July. He said that Sheffield United, Copenhagen and FC Köln in Germany were all interested, but Celtic now being thrown into the mix by L'Equipe. So can I just say something very, very quickly? And this is me going out on pure gut feeling, and from similar stories that I've seen over the years, I don't think Celtic will sign this guy. I don't think that he's going to be a Celtic player. And I believe that we've maybe scouted him, maybe even extensively scouted him, but I don't think he'll become a Celtic player. It's just one of these stories where I've seen a million times over the years where so many clubs across Europe have been linked with him that he's just bound to end up at one of them and not Celtic. So that's me just going off gut feeling. I don't have anything else to really add to that, but there is just so many being linked to him. I just don't see it. But the fact of the matter is, Etienne Ute is available on a cut price fee. Somebody who is valued well above £5 million. Le Havre are expected to accept an offer between the region of £3.5 to £5 million just to make some money on him before his contract runs out. So it might not be the worst option for Celtic to consider. He's been playing at the top level in France for a couple of years now. He is somebody who is 6'5", has a very dominating physical presence, and of course a lot of upside, a lot of potential coming through the Inter Milan youth leagues. He's clearly somebody who has something about him. So yeah, somebody Celtic should maybe consider. As I say, I just have my reservations, and I don't see it happening. What I do like about it, though, is between him and the rumours of Justin De Haas that we spoke about yesterday, it seems like Celtic are looking for a big centre-half, somebody that brings height into the team. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I've said it for days now. We need that. We need that height in the team. A 6'4", 6'5", left-sided centre-half, I think, is so ideal for Celtic. He fits the criteria of Celtic's signing model. He's got the physicality that we need, but he's got the age, he's got the price tag, the contract running out. All these are things that Celtic look for when signing a player. It points towards potential upside in the future when you can make £10 to £15 million profit if he comes in and hits the ground running. So it does all add up. He's got that now back-to-back top-flight experience in Ligue 1, and don't get me wrong, he didn't have a great campaign last year with Le Havre. They were down the bottom end, finished 15th in Ligue 1 in that 18-team league. But you know, I think that's prone to happen from time to time when you're playing at a team who are underdogs in a top flight. When you maybe don't have the quality around you, you probably are going to struggle a wee bit. So maybe he just needs that shift now to decide who's going to be playing better football, more attacking football and winning football. Keep an eye out on this one over the next few days. I like the look of him on the surface, but I just have my thoughts grounded on it all because I just don't see it happening. Now, yesterday we spoke about the rumours in regard to Giuseppe Ambrosino, the Napoli striker who has been linked with a loan move to Celtic. Now, apparently that is still a potential move for Celtic. He's still being targeted and inquiries are still ongoing. And he might still be coming into the club, but he won't be the only striker by the sounds of things, because reports are suggesting that Shin Yamada is moving closer to his £1.5 million transfer to Celtic, as the double striker swoop eyed up gives Rodgers what he wants. Celtic are reportedly closing in on a move for Yamada in a bargain £1.5 million move. The Daily Record reported this last night, that Shin Yamada is reportedly closer to that move. The Kawasaki Frontale frontman has been touted as the most recent recent J-League star to emerge on the Celtic radar after the successes of Daisen Maeda, Ryu Hatate and Kyogo, and this looks as though it's going to happen. It seems that in Japan he's gave his teary farewells, he looked as though he was off. That seems to be what the story is as this transfer comes to a conclusion, and it's one that's really ramped up over the past day or two after a couple of weeks of speculation. This was one that I actively chose to avoid these last couple of weeks because it sort of appeared, and before I got to talk about it, disappeared, and I thought, oh, must be nothing in it then, but you know, it's ramped back up these past 24 hours. It looks as though he's set to come to Celtic. As I said, in Japan, he's played his last game apparently for Kawasaki Frontale, so this is happening by the looks of it, and he's coming in as a striker option for Celtic this year. A different sort of striker option. Now, he's not enjoyed the greatest 2025 campaign with Kawasaki. He only has 2 goals in the J-League. For a centre-forward, of course, that's not a great return. But last season, the 2024 campaign, he had a very good year with 20 free goal contributions over 38 games, 19 of them being goals. He's sort of a false 9. What that seems to be the reading that most people are doing. He seems to be a more false 9 type striker, somebody used as more of a creative player than a deadly finisher. So if Celtic are going for him, there must be a reason, must be part of a game plan to bring him in, maybe to supplement a striker, to sit behind a striker. We're going to have so many of these attacking options, it's hard to really paint a picture of where everyone will fit in. But he's coming in, and hopefully he is somebody who can bring goals to the Celtic team. It's certainly interesting to think about a window where both Shin Yamada joins and potentially Giuseppe Ambrosino as well, because you've got 2 very different strikers, but strikers nonetheless. You've got Ambrosino, who looks more like a target man, 6'1", height, aerial threat, and maybe just more of a ruthless nature. Then you've got Yamada, more of a false 9. So we're certainly going to give ourselves different ways to play football, and that's something that I'm going to be finding out at the same time as everybody else. Don't let anybody fool you with a microphone that they know exactly what Brendan Rodgers' thoughts are here. I don't think we do, and that's going to be interesting to see. But listen, if he can come over and bring over what the Japanese teammates Kyogo and Daisen Maeda did, then you know what, fair enough. Morning, son. Nice to see you. I just hope that that's the case. This is a bit of a risky one, I would say. I'm not fully convinced right now, but I will support him like I do any other signing. We'll see where this goes. Finally, it's been confirmed by Rapid Vienna that Isaac Jansson will leave the club this summer. Whether that's to Celtic or not is a different story. We know there has been a bid from Celtic somewhere in the region of 2 to 3 million euros, but we also know there's been a bid by an unnamed French side in surplus of 4 million euros, so it seems like Celtic will need to do a bit of catching up if they want to be in pole position to land the winger. But Rapid Vienna have taken him out of training because they know he's leaving. The reports seem to be that he will sit out of training for now. Rapid sports director can confirm they've rejected an offer which would exceed their record transfer, but he will leave in this window. He's been expelled from training until that move is completed. So whether he becomes a Celtic player in the next week or two, we wait and see. But we know we're in and we're trying. Right, that does it for today. A bit hectic, things moving very quickly. I have updates piling through my screen about things that aren't that important, and I'm just waiting for some big, huge transfer story. We'll be live tonight in the channel, so we can talk a bit more in depth about it there. This has felt sort of rushed. We have 2 hours during a game of football to talk about it properly tonight, so see you there. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.